All right, welcome to the End FGM live show. This is a beautiful day. Tuesday it is another day that we'll be talking about issues regarding FGM. Back again in Laikipia County, and today we have two amazing guests. So Nyango Lengai is from the Maasai Cricket Warriors, but before he comes on the screen is Helen Gadogo, who is a lady who runs the One More Day. I'll have to find out the name exactly as it goes. Maasai Cricket Warriors will be represented in this broadcast, and then as we go on, we'll be able to talk about what Laikipia County is doing. Remember, we had another activist from Laikipia yesterday, and so we will be very happy to talk about how the End FGM campaign is going on in Laikipia County. So welcome to the broadcast, Helen. We really do appreciate having you here today. To the listener and to the people watching from wherever they are, just remember that you are able to be to watch this broadcast from Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube concurrently, so you can decide to switch from place to place. Bringing to you Helen on the screen, as you can see. Welcome to the broadcast, Helen. We really do appreciate having you here today. You work in Laikipia County. How many years now?
Thank you for having me, Sir Kipainoi. It's a pleasure. Yes, I work for in Laikipia County, and since I've been working in Laikipia County since 1998. 1998. Yeah.
I was very young then. Congratulations for sticking around for so long. I really do appreciate having you on this show here today. You have been running an organization as well as Safe Center for Children in Laikipia. Small background about that. When did you begin, and what have you been doing in that center?
Correct. I have been running One More Day for Children Foundation. I guess that you are going to look for the name.
Yeah.
It's a sin not to remember that. One More Day for Children Foundation is the organization, and the center itself is One More Day for Children Girls Safe House. Okay. One More Day for Children as an organization, we started in 2009, and we joined the professionals in the legal fraternity, social work, medical field, community development, and gender. Mm-hmm. And then we came together. Most of them had worked in Laikipia, and they saw a lot of gap. So it is a professional body that brought in a professional mind in addressing the FGM in Laikipia. Some of them were even magistrates. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that. We know that there are many organizations that are already working in Laikipia, and it's amazing that you are also working there for quite some time now, as you had said, since 2009, almost 11 years now. We are in 2020. The pandemic, how is it affecting you? Are you still running right now?
Yeah. What we are having right now, the pandemic has disproportionately affected the lives of girls, of course. And yes, it has negatively affected us because of some of the government directives that there are some risks presented by the government measures in containing the pandemic. Yeah. And one of it is that of a closure of the safe houses, where we hosted the survival of gender violence. So we are having a rough time, a lot of distress calls at night, and up and down we are. So we are very busy in field, virtually calling, and also knowing how we can reach them and even give them whatever support they require.
Thank you very much for that good update on that. Thank you very much for that brief update. We know that there are many issues that are going on at this time. Lots of people joining in from different parts of the world, just trying to understand what's going on in Laikipia County. Laikipia is vast, very metropolitan as well. Different communities living in that county, but mostly towards the north, we have many children who are now subjected to harmful cultural practices among communities, mostly as we speak here, among the Maasai people and also the Pokot people living also in that county, and among other small communities also in that region. How is it like for you right now trying to cope up with this pandemic as well as FGM and child marriage, as well as other forms of gender-based violence?
To set the record straight, Laikipia borders Baringo, Samburu, Meru, Isiolo, Nakuru, and Nyeri. If you look at Baringo, Samburu, and Meru and Isiolo, these are neighbors that heavily practice FGM. And therefore, Laikipia is a recipient. Like our safe house has girls from all over those counties that I've talked about. And Laikipia North and the part of West is heavily affected, with Laikipia North having under 19, 72% of the population being under 19. You can imagine years. And this has really affected us. And what we are observing right now during this period is that there's silence and challenges in detecting cases of FGM, because now the schools are closed, where these girls or the children would run to go and tell the teachers about anything. The safe houses are closed. The civil society's offices are also closed. So you get that they have been cut off. And this brings about a fertile ground for FGM. Others, if they can reach us, is only telephone. And this is a vast area and they're not accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
Also, we are also having, therefore, we are having the cutting continuing at night, because this is the period where we are having boys being circumcised. Therefore, in that environment, when boys are being circumcised in Rororas, that this is where it is happening, and at night. So we are also having some problem with the loss of a livelihood. And therefore, because of loss of livelihood, most of these girls, because they are not in school, are becoming commodities. So we are seeing some arrangement of exchanging of dowry as early as possible, which is means if the dowry is exchanged, then it means that the girl has to undergo FGM, because FGM is a precursor to early marriage.
Very well said
and this
on that.
one
I'll
really,
cut you short on that.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's a precursor, of course. We've talked about the same issue in Samburu as well, which is also a neighboring county to Laikipia County, actually borders it. And one concern that we've had over time is how long this is going to last, with the pandemic coming of still unfolding in this African nation, and specifically in Laikipia among the pastoralist communities. Any interventions that have been taken to try to curb the pandemic in the area that you operate in?
I'm happy to report that yes, there's some arrangement and some meetings we have been having. We have been having virtual meetings, intergovernmental as well as state and non-state actors, and headed by the county government of Laikipia. We have come up with a technical committee to advise the county government and the governor on how to go about these issues. So we One More Day for Children is one among the civil societies within this one. And one of the strategies we are trying to come up with is mapping. We want to map all the villages that this is happening, the hotspots, and then after that we can now set up a digital champions. We identify some digital champions because because of distances and the government directive, we cannot go over, physically. So we are going to enable the digital champions, and mostly they are going to be health workers who are also distributing some materials down there, and others, they will be identified. We also are planning to hold some radio and TV shows where we are going to let people understand about what is happening and the risk in FGM, as well as invite questions even from adolescents as well as the youth, so that they are able to ask questions and they are answered. We are also saying that we are going to reopen. Laikipia County government is championing for reopening of the safe house. and operationalization of the same. And all those girls that are calling in distress will be taken through the COVID-19 testing and also taken in. And that one is going to be facilitated by the county government of Laikipia.
Thank you very much for that. We were asking what the county government is actually doing in that regard. To those who are joining in, remember that you can always leave your comments, as you can see on your screen. I see Dr. Luke saying that he's joining from May Highlands in Narok. Thank you very much for joining in. Please leave your comments there, and we will be able to see them. I see Sunny Foreman says watching from Arizona. Thank you very much for joining us. Periscope, Asenath Mwadiga says glad to be here. Also from Twitter. Please keep those comments coming in. We really do appreciate, and we'll make sure that you will be able to be heard. Your voice, your questions will be answered in the best way that we are able to. We have Ms. Gadogo here. Thank you very much for joining us, Helen. We really do appreciate having you here today. Remember, this is the End FGM Live for those who are watching from wherever they are watching from in Kenya and beyond. Use the hashtag EndFGM Live to ask the questions on Twitter, YouTube, and also on Facebook. Hashtag End FGM Live, and we'll be able to see your comments stream on this screen. All right, so we just take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about FGM in that county, just to give a small picture about what happens on normal days on in regards to FGM and child marriage and other gender-based violence that are experienced in Laikipia County. Thank you very much for joining us again. Short break, then we will come back.
Tune in to the End FGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at End FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
All right, welcome back to the end. Welcome to the End FGM Live show. This is Jeremiah Kipainoi once back again. Today we have Helen Gadogo, who is the founder One More Day for Children in Laikipia, talking to us about the pandemic and what's happening in regards to FGM in Laikipia County at this time of this pandemic, the COVID-19. Remember that we'll be joined later by Sonyanga Olengais, who is a Maasai cricket warrior, and he will be talking to us about basically what they've been able to do in the past and what the situation is like in Laikipia as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Once again, on the screen is Helen Gadogo, and we'll just be talking about government interventions, because I know, of course, she's been talking about the Laikipia government for some time. What has the government done in that regard? Welcome to the show once again, Helen. Talking about the government, what support are you getting in regards to ending FGM during this pandemic, and also any forms of gender-based violence in your organization?
Well, I would say that I wouldn't say that there's much that we are getting from the government, but what we have been doing, because where the safe house is a land donated by the government itself, and what they have been doing is also giving some food when they have. But apparently, there's during this COVID-19, I think the decision of closing down the safe houses was not well thought about. Mm-hmm. I think, and I would say without fear of contradiction, that they needed to bring the Department of Children's Services, or the PS Malwa, needed to bring together all stakeholders so that they think in terms of the survivors, because you can imagine sending the survivors back to where they were running from. Yeah. And right now they are going through hell. Yeah. So the Department of the areas to do with the children needs to be rethought and planned by the national government, because we are having many government agencies, but they're not consulting each other. Yeah. We are having children department, we are having anti-FGM board, we are having gender, department, and also having child welfare side of Kenya. But it's amazing that they are not consulting in each other. So to me, they could have treated survivors of gender-based violence differently from those children in orphanages and other areas. And I would say that for the best resort, can all the houses be given or be taken under the Department of Gender? That is what I would say.
All right, I think I'll ask a question from that, Helen, before you go on. Yeah. We've had issues in that regard because we've had, of course, organizations closing down and also safe centers closing down. And you've said we've had issues on child trafficking before, and that's why I know there has been an issue with orphanages coming to light in that regard. But as we look at this situation right now, and the government supporting whatever in whatever way they are, is it really enough?
I think it is not really. There's a need of categorization. You know, there is a survey that they are trying to carry out. And when we were given as one more day for Children's Safe House to fill this tool, we didn't find ourselves. Because even when you are asking why the child or the girl, the reason for being admitted in the safe house, the answers or the responses that you have given as choices, it lacks. There's nothing like FGM or early marriage or child marriage. Yeah. Totally, it tells you that the tool is misplaced. Is not for that. Yeah. When you say that we indicate what they are lacking when they are back home, and you indicate a choice of food, shelter, education, sanitization, sanitary equipment, all of them they are facing, but you're telling me to choose one. Yeah. It definitely tells you that that tool is lacking in itself. And that is why I'm saying that at policy level, they were supposed to ensure that the pandemic preparedness and response plans were grounded in children's rights and gender analysis. Yeah. That is for fact. Yeah. And also, because we are having the FGM board, and we have Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the president, saying that by 2022, FGM should be a thing of the past in Kenya. How do you help this? You are returning us back. So at the policy level, they didn't ensure COVID-19 response response plans. We are not going to undermine the efforts to end harmful practices. Rather, they brought in a fertile ground for that. Yeah. So there is a link between what the president is saying and what is on the ground. Whatever is being done and whatever is happening at the policy level, there is a lack of sectoral approach and also public participation or stakeholders' participation in issues to do with FGM. And in any case, in any form of, in any situation of emergency, what happens? The girls is always disproportionately affected. Yeah. And that one, girls and women should have come into their mind. They tell us that we return. So to me, stay home, stay safe is not for everybody. It's for these girls who are survivors of gender-based violence going back home. They are not safe. They are much more safer when they were in the safe houses. And then they come up with ways and means and strategies to ensure that COVID-19 does not affect them within the safe houses.
Thank you very much. Just go straight to the comments. I see Walter Monde says, Nyamira tuned, waiting for our turn. Thank you very much. Sam Ogiri says, tuned in. Tironga Samuel, thank you very much for joining in. Harrison Kuraru Lekirio says, tuned in in this is great for young activists like us. It's my honor to learn from the best. That is founder One More Day Children's Foundation, Helen Gadogo. I say is joining in from Laikipia County right now in Lokusero, Laikipia East. Thank you very much for joining in, Matilda Timpian. Please shoot your questions and we will find a way to answer them as soon as we can. And Toitema, I also see that you have joined. Thank you very much for doing so. We do appreciate having you here today. Straight to the next question. We've talked about issues regarding FGM, child marriage, but one thing that has come up in the different talks that we've had is the fact that everyone wants to work by themselves. She's talked about, Helen has talked about different bodies working against the same cause, and then they just want to have their own interventions. So it now looks like a competition. Is that the case? And I just want to have a small conversation around that. Why is it so, Helen?
Well, I wouldn't reason it otherwise, because it's the government at the policy level, their advisors and their technical team there. Whoever came up with even placing the children under the department, the Ministry of Social Protection and Labor, even don't know. Because issues to do with children are very, very delicate. And the department, the government should have its own ministries to do with the children itself and even families. So when it comes to roles, how they are divided, I don't know whether it's the creation of jobs or what. Why would we have so many players under the same government, yet they are not connecting to each other?
Yeah.
So you get that, for example, safe houses are registered under the Department of Children's Services. But much of whatever they are protecting is to do with gender. You get?
Yeah.
And FGM and FGM board. So if the three are not correlating, then you get this instruction from this, you get this. So we are having a lot of statutes, a lot of policies, but they are conflicting and end up hurting children.
Yeah.
When policies are not well thought about and implemented, they end up hurting children, and it becomes child abuse. Kenya has already signed and ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Children, and also African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of Children. That is protection of the children should be at the forefront.
Yeah.
But then if you have players that are not coordinating, the child end up being hurt. So to me, I still think at national level, that is where the mess is, and that is where it should be corrected. Down at county level, we are trying to come up with our own, bringing in all those departments and the county government and children officers, so that we resonate and we say, this is our county. We should not be thinking like any other county, so that we see whether we can at least do something for these survivors and others, because nobody is reporting. These girls are not also reporting because they don't know where to report.
You've been running the organization for 11 years right now, and this time, of course, is a very difficult and unique time in history. We've had different people saying that they've closed down their the safe centers, the safe spaces where the girls have been kept. For you, are you still running?
Like I've said, we don't have children in the safe center. Yeah, courtesy of that directive, it was retrogressive in itself. So what we are doing is we have a technical team following up the survivors wherever they went. And that is why I'm saying that we are having a lot of distress calls at night. And I don't know why people, when they hear about GBV, they think it's a fight. It's physical. Gender-based violence can occur in various ways. And right now, these girls are living with the former abusers or those to be abusers. And there's no way that they can go and report. There's a lot happening, even being beaten, and especially because most of them have already been educated and they know their rights. So a year ago, I got a call from a Pagani girls principal. Yep. Imagine one of the girls informed of being cut, and she had kept herself safe that way, being cut. And this is what now is happening with the movement being cut, with curfew. This is really happening. Another one thing that is happening is that they are not getting access to reproductive health services. A girl is still a girl, and even if she's at home, wherever they are, they need to have sanitary towels and other services. So you get that even women themselves with family planning, they are not also getting the same. So you wonder. And right now, what we did when we were releasing them, the form that we were given, we were able to give every detail, even contact of the person and the caregiver. So, and we thought that this was going to help the actors to take food there, sanitary provisions there, and other protection devices over there. But they are not. They are not. These girls are not yet getting any food support from either the county government or the government itself. They're not getting masks, and they're even reporting to the police. They are saying they are fearing because the police are going to arrest them because of lack of masks. You're getting me. So this is really a time that we are on our toes, and I wish they never thought of closing down all the safe houses, especially for the gender-based violence, because we will be receiving a lot of others, but now they are not even knowing where to report. If they go to the police will tell you, where do I take you, and the safe house has been closed. If you go to the children officer, then where do I take you, and you have been told to close down. So you see, this is a big dilemma, and the children are hurting.
Yeah, well said in that regard, because you know that we have had challenges where, of course, we've had children being rescued in the past and hosted or housed in safe centers. But now, since there is a government directive to basically close those centers, then it's very difficult to be able to track and know how these girls are able to just stay safe if they are found in a difficult situation in these hard to reach areas. Thank you very much for joining us again, Helen Gadogo. Will shortly be joined by Sonyanga Olengais. We'll be talking about the situation as it is on the ground. We know that Laikipia North is predominantly or historically occupied by the Maasai people, and he's been in the Maasai Cricket Warriors for quite some time. We'll be talking about the role the Maasai Morans have in ending this practice, and also what is being done in regards to policy in the Laikipia County government. Thank you very much for joining us again. I really do appreciate having you here. Stay where you are, and when we come back, we will be talking to a Maasai Cricket Warrior, Sonyanga Olengais, straight from Laikipia County. If you want to leave a comment, please remember to use the hashtag #FGM Live, and we will be able to read your comment wherever it streams on our windows. All right, so we are just going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by the Maasai Cricket Warriors.
Tune in to the FGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
All right, we are back again to the FGM Live. Remember that you can always leave a comment from wherever you're watching from, and it will be streaming on our screens, as you can see on my right-hand side, of course. This is Jeremiah Kipainoi, host of FGM Live. This show is produced by Antonia Sophia and Tony Mwebia, and we shall always be live at 5:30 p.m. to around 6:15 p.m. Now joining us is the Maasai Cricket Warrior, Sonyanga Olengais, who joins us from... He's from the Maasai Cricket Warriors in Laikipia, having been involved in advocacy, just basically men advocating for women's rights. He is also the founder of the Maasai Cricket Ladies, which still empowers the girls to take up cricket and just basically fight for their own rights. Thank you very much for hanging out with us today. I'm just still going to try add Sonyanga Olengais into this call, and once we are able to, we will be going right into the conversation. Remember, leave a comment wherever you are, and we'll be able to join in live. This is the FGM Live show, and I'm your host, Jeremiah Kipainoi. On the show right now is Helen Gadogo. She is the founder and director, One More Day for Children, also based in Laikipia. And they've been talking about a range of issues, especially regarding COVID-19 and what impact it had in regards to this harmful cultural practice, FGM, and other harmful cultural practices that accompany it, like child marriage child pregnancies as well, because we know that girls are often married off once they get pregnant when they are early. Thank you very much again, Helen, for joining us. We'll just have you for a few more minutes as Sonyanga joins in, then we'll be able to host Sonyanga for his session once again. All right, so your organization has been doing lots of work. We've seen some of your work on social media, and we've seen the impact that you've been able to have on these children's lives. Where are they right now, and what's the hope for? What hope do they have after this pandemic? Are they still going to come back to the rescue center?
Thank you so much. The survivors, 64 of them who are by that time at the safe house, we are given back to their families, others to the guardians, and others, especially the babies that have been born out of sexual assault or defilement, as well as saburu bidding. Remember, we have saburus in Laikipia, and we are experiencing a lot of bidding. So those children were not allowed to go back to the families, and so we were able to foster them out. So what we are trying to do is to reach them wherever they are, and also giving them psychosocial support. And also, if we have masks and food, we also give them. Yes, we believe that they are going to come back. The strategy now will have to be realized later, because I do understand for them to come back, then they have to undergo COVID-19 test, which is the county government insinuated that they are ready. So we have them up to university, the others in universities, colleges. In fact, a big number of them are in Form 4. That is really sad. And also Class 8. So they will be coming back once the schools are opened, and we shall be having them. And we also anticipate to get a big number of other new cases coming after that, because they are also telling us of what is happening on the ground. Our worry is, however, teenage pregnancies. What will happen because of what is really happening on the ground with this COVID-19? Teenage pregnancies will be high. Also, we are also worried of others dropping out, not coming back, because either they have been married off or like all. Do we have others, missing just because of trafficking? Because in Laikipia, when you get a case mostly and you're following up, we have realized, because we give one more day for children, we also offer pro bono services. I've told you the founders are professionals and most of them are lawyers. So there are pro bono services that we give. And you get, when we are working closely with, to arrest with the police, you find the child being trafficked either to Narok, Tanzania, or otherwise. So we are also wondering, worried, do we get all of them back? So that is the question that we are really wrangling around with.
Thank you very much. I think we'll just bring this to a close on your side, because you can only add Sonyanga after you end your session. But we really do appreciate having you here today. One more thing is, how do people reach out to your organization if they would be able to or want to reach out to just find out more about FGM and the work that you're doing, as well as support you if they do want to?
Thank you so much. We are on Facebook as One More Day for Children Foundation. The number 2, again in Facebook, we have One More Day for Children, Children's Home Stroke Safe House. And then our email address is One More Day, then number digit 4, then kids, KIDS, @gmail.com. You can also reach me on 0721 358 271. We also have, we are also on Giving Way. You can find us over there. We have a headquarters at Nanyuki town, that is in Laikipia. The safe house is in Doldo, that is 60 kilometers from Nanyuki town. Anyhow, you can reach us. And also in Twitter, we are also there. You can either communicate to us anytime. We are free and to receiving anybody, partnership in whatever area. We partner with many organizations, including I Choose Live Africa. We partner with them in these fights. And we also welcome other partners to come and we together join hands so that we can work together. You can also look for us through the Department of Children's Services. They will be able to direct you to us.
Thank you very much, Helen. Thank you very much, Helen, for that. We really do appreciate having you here today. And to the listener and also people who are watching from different parts of the country, this has been Helen Gadogo, who works in the Laikipia County, running the One More Day for Children, as she has said, in the Doldon area. Offices in Nanyuki as well. Thank you very much for joining us. We do appreciate having you here today. Now headed towards...
Maybe Kipainoi, I should tell them, Kipainoi, allow me to say that we also have a website, www.onemordayforchildren.org.
Got it. Thank you very much. We do appreciate having you here today, and we are honored to have had an opportunity to host you. Looking forward to host you once again as well, because lots of insight having come across, especially what I've been able to learn about Laikipia today as well. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Such a great undertaking. I'm humbled to be. Thank you so much, and keep up good work.
Thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. Now, to the listeners, asante sana for still sticking around. Short break, but before we do that, I see people joining in from different social media handles. Janelle Cynthia says, FGM is one of the biggest issues in Laikipia East. Miss Helen has really done a great job. It's a high time we join her in this fight. David Olendilai, thank you very much for joining in. Matilda Timpian says, the issue of unnecessary competition among players is for selfish reasons only. FGM is not a plant that is grown in someone's home that needs to be taken care of by the owner. For us to end this practice, everyone should take the responsibility and show up for the best interest of our communities. Well said, supporting also Helen's points on the fact that we people and organizations and entities need to come together and resonate around one issue, which is ending child marriage, ending FGM, and gender-based violence in general. Thank you very much again for joining us, and keep on coming with the comments. We will read them as soon as we can. Joining us now from Laikipia is Sonyango Lengais, but before then, short break. When you come back, we'll be able to have a conversation culturally now, and how innovative ways can help just bring this conversation to our mainstream lives. All right? So Sonyango Lengais joining in after this short break.
Tune in to the End FGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at End FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
All right, we are back again to the End FGM live show. Thank you very much for joining us from wherever you are. This is a show that we basically talk about FGM. Today we are in Laikipia County, just spoken to Helen Gadogo. We might not be able to bring Sonyanga and Helen on the same at the same time on the screen, so probably Helen will exit the screen before. Sonyango Lengais is just going to join us, not yet on the screen, but when he does, we'll be talking about their efforts in ending FGM in Laikipia County. Remember that you can leave a comment in different platforms, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Facebook, from wherever place you are joining in from. Thank you very much again from the End FGM Live. This is produced by Antonia Sophia together with Tony Mwebia. So Helen, we'll just have you exit the call, then we will have Sonyanga Olengais join in, and then we'll be able to broadcast it in a moment. Remember, from wherever you're watching from, we've had Helen Gadogo from the One More Day for Children girls organizations, of course. Thank you very much for joining us. So Helen, I just ask you to cut the call, and then we'll be able to add Sonyanga on the call. Thank you very much. All right, now joining us in a while is Sonyanga Olengais, bringing him to the screen. We are now able to see him. Sonyanga Olengais is the captain Maasai Cricket Warriors, as well as founder Maasai Cricket Ladies, and he's going to talk to us about that. Sonyanga, we've had ways which people have used to fight harmful cultural practices, as well as retrogressive practices in communities in different and unique ways all over the world. The Maasai Cricket Warriors and Maasai Cricket Ladies have been featured in different media outlets, as well as international organizations, events, just talking about how people can be innovative and also be able to use the community in a way that they are to use innovative ways to reach out to the community. First of all, a small introduction about the Maasai Cricket Warriors. What do you do?
So for us, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Sonyanga Olengais, and I'm the captain of the Maasai Cricket Warriors, and also I'm the founder of Maasai Cricket Ladies, and now the director and producer of Selenke Nama Films, which I will actually talk more about that later on because it's a new thing. And so in Maasai Cricket Warriors and Cricket Ladies, we actually play cricket, and we use it as a tool to fight for equality and using it as a way to sensitize our society, or kind of bringing in the issues that matters to us as the Maasai people, because we are a male-dominated society. And so for us, female genital mutilation is an outdated culture that we need to put off as of our generation, because this is a new generation. And so we believe that female genital mutilation, gender-based violence, and inequalities in our societies should actually end with our generation. So in short, for us, we use sports as our tool.
Thank you very much, Sonyanga. We know that the Maasai Cricket Warriors have been featured in different international screenings, and even had a documentary, the Warriors, and we've been seeing lots of presence in regards to the advocacy that you've been doing. But now, during the corona pandemic, things have changed. You just talked about the Maasai Cricket Ladies and the fact that you're directing films on, basically films with the girls. Are you using that to just have advocacy around the pandemic as well?
For now, this is a time that it's kind of, it's actually just found as unprepared. Is a time where a lot of issues are just happening, and all what we're just trying to do now is about doing things virtually. It's not about going to the ground. However much we really love our community, but the most important thing now is staying home and utilize the already available, technology. That is, like the WhatsApp call, the people like you, utilizing the video stuffs. But for us, what we're actually doing now as an individual, I'm actually using film, because film is my concentration in school. And for me, I've always believed in telling our stories in the Maasai language, because as Mandela said, when you speak to an individual in their own mother tongue and in their own language, then they will understand that message much more than if you bring it in a different language. So for us, it's about sensitizing the community using virtual means. And as an individual with the expertise that I have is using film. And that's what I can do at the moment. As you understand, in Cricket Warriors and Cricket Ladies, we have to be physically on the ground. But you see now, we can't go to the ground. That will be neglecting our society. We have to, find ways to to utilize, find ways to send these messages. So for now, it's just film, social media, and these kind of platforms, and which are actually magnificent.
Thank you very much, Sonyanga. Josephine Diria says teen pregnancies is actually a nightmare in Laikipia North. You come from Laikipia North. We've had challenges, of course, in the past, but I know that the fact that Corona is now present in our communities. Most of the children are actually at home. As we have seen, there's lots of monitoring in towns, but we also have a challenge where we are not able to monitor people as much as we are. The authorities are not able to monitor people as much as they are in towns. What is happening in Laikipia at the moment? Because we've had issues of child pregnancies before. Is it on the increase right now?
I cannot, bring in a conclusion onto that, because when we conclude on something, it actually will have to depend on the statistic. We have to go to the ground. And as of now, no one has gone to the ground to do such statistics. But I will tell you that in terms of pregnancies, if at all people will have to stay at home, then the cases of pregnancies will reduce. That's my personal view. And I know a lot of people might actually differ with me into that. But at this specific time, in relation to pregnancy, pregnancy will reduce. That's my personal view. But in relation to female genital mutilation, I will make an hypothesis that female genital mutilation is actually going to increase, or is actually happening right now as we speak. Because you have to understand that we have to stay home. Those are the directives from the government, from the World Health Organization, and from your own personal instinct. You have to stay home. You have to stop from spreading the virus. And that's one other thing. Yeah. Because this is a new thing to us. And other than female genital mutilation, now the virus is actually more important to us than female genital mutilation, than early marriages, than all the other things we have been doing. We've been doing.
All right.
So to me, what you're doing now is, first of all, coronavirus is not a number one thing. Let's tell our society. As you understand, our community, a lot of people actually doesn't understand what coronavirus is, and even doesn't even know how to put on a mask. That's my number one thing that I will do as an individual. Female genital mutilation, early marriages, that will come next.
All right. So Nyanga, you talked about that. It's a little bit controversial, as you had said earlier. And many people have different views on what that means in the long run. I see Orina Wycliffe joining in and Charlotte Sanaipe joining in as well. Matilda Tipian had earlier said that it's important that organizations come in together so that they are able to deal with different issues. Just someone posted a comment. They want to be anonymous. Says many donors say that they want to fund women-led organizations. What challenges do you face being a man and the founder of Women Maasai Cricket Warriors? Do you find it difficult to get support, especially during this time, being a man, of course, running an organization that fights for a cause dealing with women?
For me, I do a lot of things. I've always never believed in doing one thing. First of all, I do films, I do cricket, I do a lot of advocacy in all matters that relates to the community. But as far as that is concerned, in relation, for example, film production, in my films, I actually use the Maasai girls 100% to tell these stories and bring in the stories, speaking in their own language, sensitizing about female genital mutilation and equality. So for me, and I don't actually do that so I can get the fund. I never got any funding in relation to that. I do that because it's passion, and I do that because I love the Maasai people, and I'm part of it. And I've always wanted to see a society, my society, people enjoying equal rights like all the other society. In relation to cricket, with the cricket warriors, we have always had a kind of an equality in terms of, spreading the messages of female genital mutilation, bring out an end to, the female cut and inequality in our society. And also we have the cricket ladies. So let me talk just about the cricket warriors and
before you do that,
to that question.
The question. Okay, go on. But I just wanted to ask a question in that regard.
Yes.
Are you finding it strenuous at this time specifically to access support, not just in regards to direct funds, but support? You being a man, being fighting for the rights of a girl child.
I really don't see that as a problem, because a lot of people will not see the source of the message or how this message is being spread, but rather, they tend to understand about what is the message. If the message is about putting an end to female genital mutilation, at the moment, if we don't have the girls that are available in our society, I'm not saying they are there. I'm not saying that they are not there, but they are there all the time. And that's why I use them all the time. So the point is, in relation to Maasai cricket warriors, Maasai cricket ladies, gender is not an issue, and we really don't have any problem in terms of finding the people to support us. We actually, get a lot of volunteers to come in. We partner with other NGOs. We work with individuals to make sure that the message is home. And one thing I really want to put out there, all the time, we don't have to get the support in terms of a monetary value. What is very important, it's getting the people to help you propagate the message and put the message out there. To me, that's what I believe. When I create a story and I want that my story gets to a lot of people, I don't need you guys to contribute money to me. I want you to just share my story. That's the only support that I need as an individual. And in cricket warriors, we spread cricket and using it as a tool. And what we need there is the media. The media is very powerful. Yeah. And as much as we have them to do our story, then we will have reached a lot of people. That is the support that we need.
Thank you very much, Sonyanga. And that's a really important point in the long run, because we've seen different people talking about the support activists get at this time. And as a community-based activist, of course, we've seen different issues with people having different niches in regards to support which they give. Some people are funding women-led organizations, of course. Some are also funding big organizations that will be able to work with other small organizations, and others are just funding activists in the long run. One thing that we have seen in this time as well is people being unable to access basic things. For example, I was talking to someone in that a few days ago, and they were talking to me about lack of basic internet connection, lack of basic airtime to call and follow up on the progress the girls have. Is that an issue that you are having at this time, basically? And or you feel like people who are working at this time, do they have any challenges in regards to just obtaining the support that they need at these difficult times?
And as you understand, a lot of people are in Laikipia. This is an area which is in more often marginalized. And I want to speak marginalization in terms of information transmission and in relation to access to information. This is data availability and even the network. And as you can see now, what you see behind me is the clouds. Why is that so? Because I cannot go down there so that I can get good access to internet, because the connection is very poor. So the problem here is, I will say, the provision of the network coverage equally to the society. I will say with confidence that the service providers have always been marginalizing the Maasai people and a lot of people in these areas, maybe northern Kenya, and these people doesn't have access to information. You cannot call someone very far because they don't have internet. What does that mean? That means they don't have a booster that is nearby to to provide the internet to them. So it's a challenge. That I agree. It's a challenge. So, getting information and even internet is a very big problem here in Laikipia.
So Nyanga, we are way over time, but we still keep talking about what we are actually doing in regards to end FGM campaigns in Laikipia County. I know that there have been initiatives to end FGM, and one thing that I talked about with a panelist yesterday, Josephine Dirias, she spoke to me about breaking the curse. We've had issues in regards to the culture on how women should regard themselves as women only after them going through the cut. And there are many efforts that have been taken. People have had alternative rites of passages in different parts of this country, as well as even other neighboring countries as well. But now, during this pandemic, things are a little bit different, that people cannot even gather to come together and do these things. Do you think that there are emerging cases, emerging trends in regards to the practice of these harmful cultural practices in Laikipia County?
First, I want to talk about the female genital mutilation in relation to the culture, and also as breaking the curse. That's a very important point. And I will also want to bring to your attention that the generation that we are in is not 100% clean, that they don't believe in female genital mutilation. So we have a lot of elders still who hold very tight that if a girl doesn't undergo female genital mutilation, then they will be cast. But I think, to me, there is no curse there. That is a null curse. That curse doesn't work.
Why?
The most important, because it doesn't work. There's nothing like a curse.
All right.
As much as I'm part of the society, right, I actually don't believe there's such thing as a curse, because as of now, scientifically speaking, female genital mutilation is not right. We need to let the girls be as they have been all the time.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Just a quick one. We know that Laikipia County is actually quite metropolitan, and we've had other communities coming in, and also living in these parts indigenously. And one issue that we were talking about yesterday is the fact that cases of gender-based violence, maybe husbands beating their wives, and other forms of gender-based violence taking much more space in regards to attention in this county than female genital mutilation, which is mostly covered by the perpetrators, and also the girls do not come out to say that they have been cut and it's a violation against them. Do you have a word to say about this? And do you think that the county government generally has done enough in regards to ending FGM in Laikipia?
I think the county government, I will talk about referring to individuals who are really trying to make an effort to ending this vice, because female genital mutilation affects women mostly, and that's a reality. And at the same time, it brings down our equality as a county and as a society. So the county government, I will want to say that the actual county government is not helping the people, or is not making a lot of effort in terms of putting an end to female genital mutilation. That's a reality. But we have specific individuals who are really working hard, and they are bringing in the bills to make sure that female genital mutilation will be put to an end. And countrywide, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta said that in years to come, I think in 2022, we'll have FGM, kind of exiting Kenya. But I think that is not going to happen in relation to even the accessibility to the places. Come to Laikipia, bro. You will see what's happening. A lot of places are not accessible. So how can we end female genital mutilation if even in those areas we don't have good schools, we don't have good roads? I don't want to go more into that, but that's the reality. Also, speaking to gender-based violence, I think that is more of how you as an individual is brought in. It's about the morals. How do you respect women? And also, how does women respect men? Because when you talk of GBV, it shouldn't be only be viewed in the line of a man attacking a woman. It should be having that cross-examination that even women at times mistreat some men, and that's a reality. So let's have that overview what's happening. But I will say that it's the society to hold on and to come together and try to bring the people together to respect each other. A man should respect a woman.
Thanks a lot, Sonyango Lengais. We are still talking about FGM in Laikipia County. We have talked about issues on cases, government's support, as well as the allocation of basically resources to be able to bring this to an end. We've spoken about, and Sonyanga has mentioned this, the government's commitment to end FGM in Kenya by 2022, and actually by 2021, Kenya has been given a global lead in the fight against FGM. It's like a brand ambassador, but we do not know how long this will actually take. Anyways, we'll just go on with our show, but before then, we'll take a short break, and when we come back,
tune in to the End FGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at End FGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.
all right, we are back. Thank you very much again for still joining the End FGM Live. This is Jeremiah Kipainoi. We were speaking to Sonyanga Olengais, joining us in a few minutes, in a few seconds, of course. We were speaking about different issues in Laikipia County. We just had Helen Gadobe just a few minutes ago as well. And as we bring this to a close, we'll be talking about what next for Laikipia County in regards to ending FGM. Government support, is it there or not? Is there a bill to support it or not? We know that Kajiado, for example, has passed a policy in regards to ending FGM in Kajiado. What are these counties doing in also trying to end FGM in this county? Joining us again as we bring this to a close is Sonyanga Olengais, Maasai Cricket Warriors, and also founder Maasai Cricket Ladies. Thank you very much for joining us, Sonyanga Olengais. We really do appreciate having you here today. All right, so Sonyanga, government support, you said it's barely there. But we also know that there are efforts of individuals in the county government, of course, trying to reach out to these communities and supporting CSOs in regards to ending FGM in their areas of operation and also in their work. One question before we bring this to a close. What next? It's now Corona time. People are mostly staying at home, working on social distancing. What next in regards to children's rights in that county? Do you think it's going to improve after this pandemic?
I think as much as I understand, and I said earlier, I think the cases of the women, or let me say the ladies who will have undergone a female genital mutilation worldwide, or specifically speaking of Kenya, is going to increase. So I think that is going to alter the amendment, or maybe bringing in of either new bills or new laws in relation to putting an end to female genital mutilation, because at the moment we're living in a different time, and so the rules that have been, or the laws that have been already been amended in relation to ending female genital mutilation is in a way kind of not even working, because the most important thing to a law is actually to have it work.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have the government following in and supporting that law to function,
yeah,
putting into question the perpetrators, then that law is kind of obsolete. It actually doesn't work. So I think, to me, we will have a new life, because coronavirus is going to change a lot of things. That's how I will view that.
Thank you very much for that, Sonyanga. I just try to bring this to a close as soon as we can. But before we go, I just quick overview, just taking a look at what work you've done before, and a quick search for the Maasai Cricket Warriors. As you can see on the screen now, you'll see pictures of them playing in different places in this world, as well as Maasai Cricket Ladies. Will also pop up as soon as you search for them, and you will be able to see what they are doing. All right, so Sonyango Dengai, just parting short. There's lots of things we've talked about in this show with Helen as well as with you, talking about policies, talking about the situation as it is now in Laikipia.
Okay.
What next? Just a parting shot for you. One thing that you would wish that if you had any resources, like all resources, time and the ability, political, social influence as well, one thing that you would change in Laikipia County?
What I actually would want to change in Laikipia County, I don't want to say once given a chance, because I have a chance already. I have the capability with me. But let me just answer your question. Is that actually to have an equal society, and a society which the resources are actually equally distributed. The development is equally distributed. Because as you can see, what is actually might be putting down or slowing down the rate of female genital mutilation and gender-based violence might be because the areas are not well connected. The areas are not well developed. People are not empowered, to access education, to access information. So for me, it's about empowered society, and then we'll have an empowered community and an equal society.
Thank you very much, Sonyanga. We do appreciate you being here today, as well as the insight you've brought to this show. We do really do appreciate having you here today. And to all the listeners that are also watching, just remember that you are able to always interact with us on this show, and your comments will always float on our screens. Then you'll be able to read them as we go on with the show. Today we've had Ellen Gadogo from the One More Day for Children Foundation in Laikipia, as well as the Maasai Cricket Warriors, represented by Sonyango Lengais, their captain, as well as the founder, Maasai Cricket Ladies. All right, just bring this to a close. But remember, as I had earlier told you, you can always, in future broadcasts, you can always leave comments. Thank you very much for joining us, Nancy Ledama, today, as well as Stephanie Sinclair, Ruth Jepchumba, Joshina Tono, Stella Kikome. Thank you very much for joining us online and leaving your comments down. Dorcas Nashora from Kitengela, thank you very much. I'm Sani Foreman from Arizona. Kaji Dr. Luke, also from Narok County. And Toet Emma, she says, her name is, thank you very much for joining us. Kaji Dr. Luke, she says, from May Highlands in Narok. Walter Maunde from Nyamira, that's around Kisii. Sam Mogire also, Sironka Emmanuel joined us today as well. Thank you very much. Harrison Kuraru Lekerio, thank you very much for leaving that long comment as well. Matilda Timpian and Kelvin Karaoke, as well as Janelle Cynthia, David Olendilai from Kajiado, Orina Wycliffe, Charlotte Sanaipe, Edward Ampuko, Josephine Ndirias, Moni Queen Gitao, Simoy, and Juni Duku, among many others on different platforms. Please, we will be happy to have you tomorrow as well. Leave your comments and let's have an engagement, a fruitful engagement tomorrow as well. This has been the NFGM Live, brought to you by Antonia Sophia, our producer, as well as Tony Mwebia from NFGM, and me, your host, Jeremiah Kipainoi. Till tomorrow, stay safe and keep those close to you safe as well. All right, see you tomorrow and take care.
Tune in to the NFGM live show from Monday to Friday at 5:30 p.m. East African Time. Find and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at NFGM Live. Reach out to us for inquiries, to report a case, or to support the show on WhatsApp +254 73 400 7674.